It's time for the Success in Real Estate Show with Frankie Griffin, owner and instructor of Real Estate School for Success, broker in charge of the Palmetto Success Team, and author of Success in Real Estate. If you're interested in buying or selling a home, investing in real estate, or becoming a real estate agent, you'll enjoy the Success in Real Estate Show on FM News and Talk 100.1 WVOC. Now, here's Frankie Griffin.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin, broker in charge and real estate educator right here in South Carolina. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Look forward to putting out what I believe is some very essential information, because last week I started talking about some of the provisions that you typically see in your contract of sale, at least the ones around here in the Midlands. And there's some other things I really want to talk about. I'm going to make sure we hit on these provisions and answer any questions that you may have. And if you do have any questions at all, anything dealing with real estate, I'd love to hear from you. Try to answer your questions the best we can. But the number to call here in studio is 978-9862. Again, 978-9862. And if you're thinking about buying a house or selling a house, it would be such an honor for me. I would love it to have an opportunity to come talk to you about representing you in that transaction. We do have a team, and in fact, our brokerage company is called the Palmetto Success Team. And we are a true team where we work together to provide whatever services are necessary for our buyers or sellers. So we would love to come out and talk to you if that's a service you're in need of. You can certainly call me or email me if that's something you'd like to do. My email address is frankie@frankiegriffin.com, and that's Frankie, Frankie Griffin. Frankie@frankiegriffin.com, or you can call me. My cell phone is 315-7303. Again, 315-7303. Love to help you with that. We also have several classes coming up right now at our school, the Real Estate School for Success. So anybody thinking about getting into real estate or maybe starting a new career, we'd love to help you with that. I was reading an article just this morning, as a matter of fact, where agents just in 2012, their income, now this is national, but the average income for real estate agents actually went up 25% last year. And when I see what's going on right now this year, I just can't imagine what it's going to be by the end of the year. It is so awesome to see what's going on. It's very busy right now. Pretty much anybody you talk to in real estate, I think, will tell you the same thing. In fact, I can't remember a year that's been as busy as it has so far in 2013. What an awesome time to be in real estate. But if you're thinking about getting into it, either as a career full-time or maybe just wanting to make a little extra income on the side, maybe you have another job already, but love to have you. We've got day classes, we've got night classes, we've got weekend classes. We can certainly help you out with that. Just go to our website, and you'll see our full slate of schedules there. Our website is www.realestateschoolforsuccess.com. Again, realestateschoolforsuccess.com. But one class I just want to hit on real quick that will actually be starting on Monday for all of you that already have your real estate license and would like to take advantage of this, what appears to be, to me, not appears to be, I'm sold on the fact, we are now moving into a seller's market. Many, or in fact, most real estate agents, that might be a little stretch. A lot of real estate agents that are licensed today have not seen or worked in a seller's market yet. Last several years, it's been a big-time buyer's market. But I do believe, just from what I'm seeing right now, we are moving into a seller's market. So buyer representation today is going to be huge. Buyers are going to be looking for agents that are specialized in just buyer representation. Well, we have the ABR course. That's the Accredited Buyer's Representative. It's a 2-day class that will help you build your buyer business. It's an awesome course. It's going to be on May the 20th and 21st, which is Monday and Tuesday, and we're going to be conducting this course at the at the Association of Realtors here in Columbia. That's the Central Carolinas Realtors Association. It will be over in their office, but it's a 2-day class. But again, you can sign up for that class on our website. Just go to realestateschoolforsuccess.com, and there you'll find all the information about that class. We're really looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. And I was saying a little bit earlier how much I think we are really moving into a seller's market, because I'll just tell you, yesterday I was with my partner, Stacy Starnes. We were going to put a house on the market, and as I'm getting out of the car and grabbed the sign, the for sale sign, out of the car and fixing to plant it in the front yard. Before I even got the sign to where I was going to put it, a truck happened to pull up and stopped on the road and started asking questions about the house, and received an offer on that house before I even got the sign in the yard. That's incredible. Now, was that going to happen every time? Probably not. But you're starting to hear more and more about things happening like that in real estate. And the reason for it is because inventories are very low right now compared to what we've been accustomed to. So there's not nearly as large a selection right now for buyers to choose from. And we have so many buyers looking to buy right now. I think the overwhelming consensus from the public is that property values have bottomed out and in fact have now started going back up, and they have. Everything I'm seeing right now, home values are going up. Interest rates are still incredibly low right now. So I mean, if you're thinking about buying, I don't know what else you'd be waiting for. This is the time to buy the house. So that's why you're starting to see houses are selling. The time on the market is really going downward again, and all of this sort of favors the seller. And it's about time. Sellers have had a hard time over the last 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years, because it's been such a big-time buyer market. So a lot of good things happening in real estate. And, again, love to answer any questions you have about real estate. If you're thinking about buying a house or selling your house or anything about real estate, if I can help you, I'd love to. Give me a call. The number here in studio is 978-9862. Again, 978-9862. Well, last week I started talking about some of the provisions that you'll see in your typical contracts of sale. And one of those things I kind of touched on right at the end of the show, so I want to go back to that again, and that's dealing with earnest money, because that's a big question I get all the time. One, first of all, do you have to even put up earnest money? And if we are going to put up earnest money, then how much should we put up? And that's always an excellent question. I can tell you there's never one answer, in my opinion. It depends a lot on the buyer's offer. I can tell you from a seller perspective, the amount of earnest money that the seller will expect is going to be directly related to how strong your offer is. If you have a lot of contingencies in your offer, that may require a little more earnest money. And by the way, let's go ahead and figure out, well, what's earnest money for? What's the purpose of earnest money? Well, in short, it's a show of good faith where the buyer is saying, here's, I'm putting up this amount of money. It's my show of good faith that I fully intend to purchase your home under the terms and conditions we put in this offer. And if for some reason, buyer, if you do not close on that property, then you could very well be liable for liquidated damages, which is what the earnest money will be used for, to cover whatever damages there are to the seller in case that should happen. But there are some contingencies, and we're actually going to talk about that after the break and how to deal with these contingencies. But the first thing I really just want to sort of hammer home is how much earnest money should the buyer put up? Well, I can tell you, if I'm representing the seller and you make an offer, if if it's a strong offer, I've got that letter from the bank saying you've already applied for a loan, you've already been pre-approved, and I feel like everything is pretty strong there, then earnest money is not going to be quite as big a deal, I don't think, to me or my seller. But if you've got a lot of stuff in there where, for example, buyer says, I would like the seller to replace the carpet in the house, which is not unusual, or do other things. Well, if you're going to ask the seller to come out of pocket between now and closing, then I may suggest to my seller we need to go ahead and request more earnest money, because it would be a problem to the seller if they went ahead and put new carpet in, say they paid $3,000 to do that, and then the buyer doesn't buy the house. Now, not only does the seller not only are they not able to close on the house, but now they've got $3,000 less than they had before they ever met this buyer. So I would probably expect your earnest money to be at least $3,000. So if you want this extra work done, then let's see how sure you are about buying the house. About to lose my train of thought there, but we got to make sure that you fully intend to do what you've offered to do. And that's really the intent of the earnest money. But we do need to go ahead and take our first break, get that out of the way. But I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, anything about real estate, give me a call. The number is 978-9862, 978-9862. You're listening to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin on FM News and Talk 100.1 WVOC. All right, good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin, broker in charge and real estate educator. Thank you for joining me this morning. I've got so much stuff I want to put out there to you. But again, this is a show intended to try to educate and provide information to anyone that might be involved in any kind of real estate, whether you're looking to sell a home, maybe you're looking at buying a home, investing in real estate, maybe you want to get into the real estate business. Anything that's on your mind, if it's got anything to do with real estate, we want to help you out with that. And I've got several partners that we work with that provide excellent services. And one I just want to mention right now is Tim Mosley with Carolina Conditions. He owns that's obviously a heating and air company, and they do such an incredible job at helping you maintain your unit so that it maximizes the efficiency, which results in a lot of savings at the end of the month when you start looking at what your light bill is going to be. They also do a great job of when you're looking at buying the house and you need someone to inspect that heating and air unit. Tim Mosley, that's who you need to call. They do so much. They look at so many things other than just making sure it's working right now. It's just too much to cover, but give him a call. I promise you will enjoy and appreciate what they do for you. Again, Tim Mosley with Carolina Conditions. His number is 233-7172. Again, 233-7172. And then again, if you are thinking about buying a home or selling a home, we would love to help you. Love to sit down and talk to you. Love to represent you if that's what you decide on. You can certainly contact me. I'll meet with you about any time that you have the time. Give me a call. My personal cell phone is 315-7303. Again, 315-7303. Or if you prefer an email, you can email me at frankie@frankiegriffin.com. Love to help you with that. And what we're talking about today are some of the provisions, again, that you'll see in the contract to sell that I think are very important to understand. And before the break, I was talking about the earnest money because a lot of people have questions about that and how much we should put up, or should you put up any at all. And we did talk about how much and how I think you need to determine the amount of that. But a couple other things before we get away from the earnest money. One, if you are the buyer and you are putting up earnest money and you turn that over to your agent, you need to find out, is this the account that this money is deposited into? First of all, it has to be a trust account or an escrow account. And when the company opens that account, they can open it up as an interest-bearing account or a non-interest-bearing account. And if it is an interest-bearing account, what most real estate companies will do in this area is they're going to keep any interest that would accrue while it's sitting in that escrow account. And for them to do that, buyer, that means you're going to have to sign something. You have to acknowledge in writing, and they usually include this in the contract to sell, that basically says any interest that would accrue, buyer, you're waiving that interest. Typically, it's just really not a big deal because you're not looking at a lot of money that's going to be accruing in that account, at least for some period of time. You figure on average, even if it sits there 4, 5, or even 6 weeks, you're just not going to accrue that much interest anyway. So it's usually not a big deal. But the law still requires that you acknowledge the fact that you're waiving the interest and that you're okay with that. Now, if you're not, then that's something you need to work out with your agent before you write that check. The other thing that you have to acknowledge in writing is who's going to be holding on to this money. Because every real estate company must have an escrow account to deposit these types of funds into. And traditionally, you'll find the buyer's agent will just hold on to that money on behalf of the buyer until they have to disperse it for whatever reason. But it doesn't have to go in the buyer agent account. It could go into the listing agent's account, or in some cases, even the attorney may hold on to it. But it still has to go into an escrow account regardless of whose account it is. And the question I get a lot, well, does it matter? I mean, why would I want to turn my earnest money over to the seller's agent? And at the end of the day, again, it really doesn't matter, because once that money goes into a trust account or an escrow account, you cannot take it back out unless one of two conditions have been met. And one of those is that the contract must be consummated, which means we've closed and all the parties have performed everything they agreed to do in the contract. And once that's happened, then whoever's holding on to the money can pull it out of their escrow account and use it for usually commission, but whatever it was intended to be used for, they can use it for that purpose. But if for some reason the house does not close, then or buyer does not close on the property, now the contract has to be terminated. And just because the buyer gets upset for any reason, says, well, I'm not buying, the seller's not doing what they agreed to do, and so the buyer just gets mad and says, I'm not buying, they walk away from the deal. Well, that doesn't mean the contract's terminated. In fact, what it could very well mean, buyer, you're in default. That's more than likely what it's going to mean in many cases. But at any rate, what I would have to release that money or disperse the funds that are sitting in that escrow, I've got to have a written document that is signed by both the buyer and the seller agreeing on what to do with the money. And unless I have that, then I cannot disperse those funds. I cannot return those funds. I can't do anything with that money. It must stay in that escrow account until I have that written agreement. So one of these two conditions must be met. Again, either the contract must be consummated or it must be terminated. And again, the only way it can be terminated is to have a written agreement between the buyer and the seller that they agree to release each other of their obligations, and you must agree on what to do with the money. Otherwise, it has to sit in that trust account or escrow account, cannot be moved. And that's why I say it really doesn't matter which account it goes into, because all of these escrow accounts fall under the same trust accounting laws, and that's the law. It has to stay in that account. All right, so that was really the main things I wanted to talk about when it came to the trust funds. The other thing I wanted to talk about is our transaction costs or the closing costs that you could expect to see or have when you get to the closing. And I really wish that we would pay a little more attention to what these are. First of all, if you're going to be making an offer, say you're buying a house and you're going to make an offer, make sure your agent provides you with a written net sheet where, in essence, you need to know, if you're the buyer, if the seller accepts this offer exactly the way it's written, how much money will I have to bring to closing? And there's no reason your agent can't do that. And in fact, I was talking to Erica West, our mortgage consultant, last week on the show about some of this stuff. But be careful about gauging all this information strictly from that good faith estimate. Some of that information is accurate. It has to be by law. But then there's a lot of the stuff that's on that good faith estimate that is not accurate. In fact, usually nowadays will be way overestimated. So you're using something that's not going to be very accurate. But if the agent is competent and they understand what they're doing, there's no reason you can't take the legal portion that has to be correct off that good faith estimate, and the rest of it you can just go find out exactly what the costs are going to be. So buyer, you have a right to know, and not only do you have a right to know, you have to know. The last thing you want to do as the buyer is to make an offer, have the seller accept the offer, and then find out a couple of days or maybe even the day of closing how much you're going to have to bring to closing and not have it. And maybe you didn't have or thought it was just going to be no money or a few $100 or whatever, and then find out it's substantially more than you thought it was going to be, and now you can't close. Well, buyer, that puts you in default, and again, you're going to be liable for damages if that should happen. So we want to make sure you know exactly what it's going to cost you if the offer is made. And then again, on the flip side, if you're the seller, before you agree to accept an offer, make sure your agent provides you with a net sheet that will indicate how much money you put in your pocket when you walk away from closing. Because so many times here of late anyway, there's a lot of sellers that have very little to, and in some cases no equity in their home. And believe it or not, a lot of sellers have actually had to come to closing with money. So if that is the situation, you need to know that ahead of time. Don't be accepting offers, seller, if you don't know what your bottom line is going to be. And your agent should be able to provide that information. So make sure they help you out with that. All right, we're at the bottom of the hour. We need to go ahead and take that bottom of the hour break. But I'd love to help you or answer any questions you have. Again, you can call me right here in studio. The number is 978-9862. Again, 978-9862. You're listening to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin on FM News and Talk 100.1 WVOC. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin, broker in charge and real estate educator. Thank you for joining me this morning. I just really enjoy going over this kind of stuff. Real estate is what I love to do. And, you know, one of the things that you got to think about here when you're interviewing an agent to represent you, I don't care if you're buying or selling a house, there's just so many things you've got to look into, check into. Make sure you know before you sign on the dotted line what services your agent is going to provide for you. That's always important, because it's one thing to say and talk about things on how we're going to do it or how it's going to work out. But what I would want to know is, what are you going to do to make those things happen? I think that's very important. And, you know, when I'm talking to a seller, for example, about listing their home, you need to be able to tell, I think the agent needs to be able to provide to you how much they can sell the house for, and along with how long do you think it might take the house to sell. And there's no reason a competent agent cannot provide that kind of information. Should be able to do a market analysis, should be able to figure out what the value is given the current market conditions, and then they should be able to tell you about how long it's going to take the house to sell. Well, I don't know that I'm gonna have time to get too deep into that, but anyway, but if you understand the market conditions, you should be able to tell the homeowner about how many months this home should be on the market before you can expect it to sell. Now, sometimes it sells a little quicker than that. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But you should have a pretty good idea of what the market's doing if you're familiar with this market area. So make sure that your agent or whoever you're talking to can answer those kinds of questions. And obviously, we would love to help you if that's something you'd be interested in. Again, just shoot me an email if you'd like to buy a house or sell a house. Again, my email address is frankie@frankiegriffin.com, and we will help you any way we possibly can. Now, some other things that I wanted to talk about today. Oh, and by the way, if you have any questions, give me a call. Haven't gotten any calls yet. That's been sort of unusual for over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So if there's something on your mind, give me a call. The number here in studio is 978-9862. Again, 978-9862. But I do want to talk about these contingencies because there are so many potential contingencies, and depending on your offer and the type of offer you're making as a buyer, you want to be careful about some of these contingencies. For example, if you're one of these that or one of those that have made the decision you're going to buy a bank foreclosure or something, maybe through a short sale or anything dealing with the bank or some third party like that, I can just tell you the fewer contingencies you have in your offer, the better chances you're going to have of getting that accepted by the bank. Banks are not very happy about too many contingencies. So in a situation like that, for example, most buyers will have the due diligence period, which is a contingency to have inspections performed. And those are okay, but if you're really serious about this house, I might consider go ahead and have the inspections done. Make sure you're okay with the condition of the home, because rarely is the bank going to agree to fix anything. I can tell you that right now. But if you're going to have the contingency in there to have the home inspection after the contract is accepted, a lot of banks are not very happy with that. Not at all. So you may not stand a very good chance of getting your offer accepted. So go ahead and get an inspection in advance. And then if you're okay with the condition and you're okay with well, first of all, that at least now you know what kind of offer to make if you understand the condition. And then two, now the bank's not nearly as concerned about your offer if that contingency is not there. All right, well, let's go straight to our phone lines right now where we've got Tim on the line. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing fine.
Great. What can we do for you?
Well, pretty much my house has been on the market for about 9-10 months. Been listed since last August. I had it listed with one of the top real estate professionals here in Columbia. I'm not going to give any names or anything like that, but basically, this particular person didn't do anything for my house. We had to sign out. Not one person came and looked at the house. So after 7 months, the real estate listing expired. Got a couple of phone calls from a couple of different agents. Went ahead and contracted with another agent. House was relisted. No luck. Not one phone call, not one email. No one has even looked at this house in 10 months. Even though it's been listed twice and it's on all MLS and everything like that. And I'm trying to find out, is there, my agent, he did a market analysis. He told us this is what the house should sell for, but he couldn't tell me, he couldn't give me a ballpark figure about when the house might sell. He couldn't say, well, it could sell in 6 months or a year. No, I have not had anybody do that. And what I'm asking for is I'm not familiar with the real estate market in this area because I'm not an agent. That's why I hired an agent to do this because I'm, professional. The agent's professional. And my basic question is there anything that I can do on my end to help my agent out, or can I just fire my agent and hire somebody else? I don't know if my agent's not doing enough, or if I may not be doing enough. I just don't know, and I'll hang up. And I'll listen to you, okay? Okay.
Well, Tim, thank you very much. I hope you have a great weekend, buddy. Yeah, that's difficult, and that's tough. And I wish I could say that, any property will be looked at, viewed, and eventually sold. But there are just all kinds of it's a difficult question because there's just so many other things that would have to be considered. Is it possible for the agent to do a very good job of marketing and doing all the things they're supposed to do and it still not be shown? Absolutely. There are a lot of factors there to consider, and sometimes those things happen. It doesn't mean you don't have a good agent. Now, it doesn't mean that you have a good agent either. But it's just hard to answer that question without knowing some of the details. But here's some things you might want to just consider. First of all, if you are having questions about your agent, and I would recommend this anytime, no matter to anybody. First of all, you need to make sure you understand who your agent is. And I think that's a little bit of a misconception by a lot of people that are not familiar with how real estate works and how the real estate industry works. But your agent, to try to put this into a nutshell, your agent will be the broker in charge of the company that you've hired. And you may very well be working with that person, and I don't know. But I would find out. I just asked a question. Whoever you've been working with, just ask them, are you the broker in charge? If they say no, ask them who their broker in charge is and get their phone number and call that person, because the broker in charge is who you've actually hired. You've hired the company, and the company is the broker in charge. So I would want to just sit down with the broker in charge, schedule a time, and then just go through the process, what the concerns are. Let that broker in charge try to help you. You may have an experienced agent. I just don't know. Actually, I think you said you had an experienced agent, so that might rule that out. But I think you'll find sometimes just sitting down with the broker in charge, they can help you out. I know as a broker in charge myself, I would really appreciate it if I have a client working with one of my licensees and they're not happy, or they think there's some issues here. I would like you to come to me and talk to me. So that would be my first suggestion. Go sit down and talk to the broker in charge. But other than that, yeah, location is just absolutely everything. I'm not sure where your home is located. But there are some hot markets right now around Columbia. In fact, there are a lot of them. But there are some markets that are just not very hot right now. They're just not, for all kind of reasons. Some other things you might want to look into is to verify what kind of financing is available for your particular property. Again, not sure what kind of property you have or where it's located, but a very common type loan right now is FHA. A lot of people have to get FHA financing to qualify, and to do that, the property has to meet certain requirements. So if it doesn't meet those requirements, then they can't get an FHA loan. That could keep them from actually going out and looking at the property if they know the financing's not available anyway. So anyway, there's a few things there to consider. Tim, I hope that helps you out a little bit. But I would certainly want to go sit down and just talk to your broker in charge and just see what kind of things can be worked out to try to get this house sold. All right, we need to go ahead and take our last break of the day, but if you have any questions for me, you can certainly give me a call. The number here in studio is 978-9862. Again, 978-9862. You're listening to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin on FM News and Talk 100.1 WVOC. All right, good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin, broker in charge and real estate educator. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Had a lot of fun here talking about some of this stuff, and I just absolutely love real estate. And I just want to offer again, if you are thinking about buying a house or selling a house, I would love to talk to you, have the opportunity maybe to even represent you there. Give me a call. My cell phone is 315-7303, 315-7303, or you can reach me by email, and that is frankie@frankiegriffin.com. And either way, I will return your call or your email, however you want to do this. But I had a call before the break from Tim, dealing with an issue that a lot of people are dealing with. Now, hopefully things are starting to get a lot better where we're not hearing of these problems as quite as much. But there are market areas where it seems like you put the house on the market and just nobody is looking there. Now, I will say this, Tim, if you're still listening, if there are other homes on the market that in your area or nearby, and those homes are being shown or even selling, and yours is not, then now you got something you want to look at here. And not saying this is the case, but it could very well be overpriced, for one. But another one that I would think that anybody, not just for Tim, but anybody looking at selling their house, and I've been saying this now for several weeks, but it's a fact, and this is a national statistic will back this up, but 90% of all home buyers start their search online. So they're going to all these internets, the Zillow.com, the Trulias, Realtor.com, and there's a lot of third-party websites that can actually pull information from the multiple listing services. So the public can actually see a lot of these properties that are for sale. They do searches on their own. Well, what's the big thing they're looking at when they're online? Obviously, the first thing that's going to catch their attention is the picture. If there's not an attractive photo of the property, they're just going to keep going. You know, if I'm looking at a property and I see it's listed for $175,000, and what I see in that first picture doesn't look like $150,000, then I'm going to click right on to the next one. But I can tell you, you can have a very nice property and have a pathetic looking photo. And I've been talking about this for weeks now, and I keep seeing them. But this is one reason why anytime I list a house, I'm going to call a professional, and I want a professional that's in real estate, not that does all the weddings and the family pictures and all stuff, and nothing against that, but that's not what I'm looking for. I want an expert in real estate photography, and there's a niche there. And Jerry Bilton is who I've been using here for some time now, and he does such an awesome job. And agents tell me all the time about they're always making the comments on these photos. They're absolutely wonderful, and buyers are going to want to come look at the property. They will want to. It's very attractive. In fact, I've actually got Jerry in studio with me, which he's usually in studio with me every weekend because he shoots the show. And by the way, if you miss any portion of the show or the whole show sometime, feel free, go to our website. We have we videoed this show. In fact, it will be edited so you can actually watch it commercial free if you want to. But it's on our website. Just go to the realestateschoolforsuccess.com and click on radio, and then you'll see it there. Now, I've been running my mouth here, and now I got about 1 minute left, Jerry, but Jerry's actually in studio. And Jerry, how you doing today, brother?
Doing great.
Awesome. I just wanted you to tell us real quick, you've got a special going on right now, and we've only got about a minute left. So what is that special?
Absolutely. Any of the agents out there that haven't contacted me or haven't used me before, I want to give you a little extra incentive that maybe you can see my work in progress for the $150 standard shoot. Mm-hmm. I'll include with that, which is a $75 value of doing a video profile for the agent.
That's awesome. Awesome. And first of all, $150 to get the professional photos on their listing. And by the way, Tim, if you're still listening, take a look at the pictures. Have the agent show you the pictures that's online. If they don't look good, that could be part of the problem. Call Jerry. Jerry's number, what's your number, Jerry?
Area code 803-331-9035. That's 803-331-9035.
All righty. And if you didn't get that, just go to our website, realestateschoolforsuccess.com. Click on radio, and there you'll find all his information. Thank you for joining me. You've been listening to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin on FM News and Talk 100.1 WVOC.